hello and fuck cape shit. Again, some more. Welcome to Shittywebcomics
Fuck, what
Weekly.
was it? It was fucking hello and yay and fuck cape shit.
And yay.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay! Welcome to another Shitty Webcomics Weekly, brought to you by our Subscribe Star backers. We're able to do these videos because of people like you.
Because of
Helping
people
us.
like you. Oh, no. Don't say it like a big whiny crybaby like Nick Ricada.
Oh,
Say
yeah.
it like a normal. Say it like a white man.
Do it like a white man. A white man uses an ISO file. This is the way a white video is recorded. With an ISO file? I don't know about that. Hold on.
We're uploading all these as ISO files.
Yes. And it's up to YouTube to transfer them to MP4s, and then I will save them off of YouTube as MP4s. That way they are now easier to use. Wonderful, convenient. But we're getting into...
They're much easier after you download them from YouTube to upload them to BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey.
I can upload them to BitChute, where in a year they will just become dead links. Or not the dead links, but the videos will just stop loading. They'll just be a circle of death forever. And when you ask the people at BitChute why your video is doing that, they'll ask you to donate to BitChute as their only response. Thanks, BitChute. I can also upload them to Rumble. Oh wait, they banned my account on Rumble because I mirrored an unlisted video that apparently, I guess they thought was against the terms of service. They haven't said. They didn't give me any reason why. They just straight up deleted my Rumble account without warning.
What a shitty site.
Yeah, Rumble, terrible, definitely a terrible site. And guess what?
Rumble does a lot of work promoting Nick Ricada. Oh, that explains everything.
Yeah. Well, that's most likely the reason why is there's a lot of people that Rumble promotes who personally hate me, which means Rumble was looking for any reason to delete my account, apparently. That's how it works at Rumble, is if they're friends with somebody who doesn't like you on a personal level, the people who run the site will hold a grudge. Very interesting.
They're objectively wrong.
Because
Rumble, that's how you know Rumble is objectively shit.
Even YouTube doesn't really do that. And YouTube is terrible platform. That's a fucking terrible website. And so, yeah, the only thing really left is Odyssey, which isn't necessarily great either, but sadly, it's the best of the alternatives, I guess, aside from what, LiveLeak? I don't know. But today, and perhaps for the next month or two, or 3, or 4, we're going to be recording videos, doing reviews, I guess, or just sort of, I don't know, go a skim through of this comic that you found, or that somebody, I think, linked on our Discord, and so you went and read through some of it, and it's called Booty Royale. Never go down without a fight.
Like somebody just posted this as like almost like as a goof. It's just like, haha, look at this. And then I actually read it.
Bitch. Hey,
actually read it. I just felt compelled to check it out. I sometimes do that if it's like, oh, hot girl, it's some fucking comic. Let me go check it out. I can't tell you how many times I've done that with like an American comic where it's like, oh, this comic's actually terrible.
Yeah, and then with manga, it's like that's what happened with like stuff like Dadan, or Delicious in Dungeon, or Dungeon Meshi, if you will. Also, speaking of which, it says the alternate name for this is Haguri Idol Jigokuhen, apparently.
That's exactly how it's pronounced too, I'm sure.
That is the correct pronunciation. Author Takatao Ryui. Is this a lady broad? I don't know. Isn't Ryui some kind of feminine name, sort of?
That's the problem, is we don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Name in Japan, I don't fucking know.
I don't know anything about them. And you know what? Hey, I'm not going to judge.
Rui?
Genres are action, adult comedy, drama, martial arts, seinen, and yuri, which is, I mean, that's covering a lot of bases right there.
It's like a fucking. It's like a bunch of tags for fetishes on e-hentai. Oh wait, that's basically what this. That's basically what's going on here. This is almost downright porn.
This is more of an ecchi thing. Ecchi is considered like softcore as opposed to hentai, which is considered just straight up pornography. This is more of like a lot of nudity, implied nudity. There's a lot of implied just sexual.
There's a lot of implied nudity, but then there's also a whole lot of just absolute in your face. The only thing they don't show is like labia.
Flunt.
Full on flunt.
Flunter.
It's the only limit, but they're showing like a fucking muff and full on titty. And also, I don't know if you're showing the cover, but this is another reason why American comics are inferior.
Yeah.
As far as art is considered, the bikini top she's wearing is just squishing down the sides of her cans.
It's just so generally covering her nipples, and that's kind of it. But also, she is happy, as opposed to being embarrassed or ashamed, which can be a nice thing also sometimes. You know,
but I mean, just the sides of the titty meat.
The actual titty, yeah. There's actual
cut into.
Yeah, the string on the top of her bikini, sort of like the thigh squish effect from stockings or something that but American comics never tend to draw or never do draw.
Yeah, or most especially is like a fucking some American femoid would be like, this is actually oppression. This is how men oppress us, by making us wear this clothing.
I wish.
And it's like, no man's making you wear this clothing. You're deciding to wear this clothing. And let's also face it, it's the same as an elastic waistband. It does absolutely nothing. You are a lesser person if you complain about this.
You want attention, you whore. But anyways,
Speaking of attention-seeking female,
this girl has a thigh gap. Now that's pretty
much.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
That's like putting a gun to a woman's head and just blowing her brains out in real life. Is to show her an image of a drawing of a woman with a thigh gap. As far as Tumblr was concerned back in the day, as many of our wonderful fans from the Tumblr days.
The best part was a lot of artists would see that and just be like, bad taste shit. There's somebody who's like, fucking, I like this, and it's like somebody.
No, it was reblog if you agree or something, and it was just a picture of the stocking squeezing the upper thigh, and someone is like, agree with what? I don't know what you're talking about, and it's like, just so if you agree, and they're like, no.
They explain it specifically as if they were a child, and then the person was like, no, I don't really like that actually, and then just a wall of shit taste.
It was about 500 replies in a row of people just saying the words shit taste over and over again to shame the person, and the person they ultimately were replying to ended up, of course, deleting their account, which is extremely common with Tumblr when
it's a tremendous weakness. It goes to show the weakness inherent in some people,
and they deserve weakness inherent into the Tumblr.
They deserve to be trolled. It's a good example of why trolling is necessary.
They had it coming. It's trolling, for lack of a better word, is good. Trolling is right. Trolling works.
So like, share, comment. It's the video is over.
Subscribe.
The video is over.
Well, you know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll read the description. It says, "This is the story of Misora Haibaru, an 18-year-old karate expert from Okinawa, which is
I know Okinawa is Japan. Okinawa is part of Japan.
It's also where my parents were, where I became an orphan because my old man got killed in Okinawa. So I'm not taking my boots off for no one.
Sons of a cocksucker's gonna fucking tell me to take my boots off.
Who won the war? We did. You're gonna fight it again? It's like, I like how they're like, well, you just take your boots off, and he's like,
even the racist Italian mafioso are just like, hey, look, it's a Japanese restaurant.
I want to eat sometime this year.
Yeah, I want to eat sometime this year. Let's pretend we're in Japan. We're Americans. Who cares?
Yeah,
and it's like,
when in Rome. They actually tell him, hey, when in Rome, engage. That kind of thing.
Which is great.
Yeah, and Donnie
That's
Brasco
underrated.
makes up a story about his dad being killed in Okinawa, so he doesn't have to take off his boots. So they savagely beat the fucking waiter. They drag him into the bathroom, and like even the mobsters who are like, you could just take your boots off, and like 30 seconds. It's just like the Patrice thing, where Patrice is like, Face Off was a good movie, and Jim Norton's just like, I'll throw my coffee in your face, and then describes the move that John Travolta would do is brushing the fingers down the middle of the face. And Patrice O'Neal starts his sort of Rich Evans-esque laugh. In a way, Rich Evans and Patrice O'Neal, the same laugh, really. And
the same level of delight in
yes,
in all of humans.
Wonderful racism-curing laugh specifically from Patrice. And then after like 30 seconds, Patrice is like screaming, I'm sorry, you're right, that movie stunk, Face Off stunk. A bunch of doves, it's so John Woo-ish. They're sucking each other's vibes and, all that other stuff. I highly recommend.
The YMS, because this was on movie night.
Yeah, last movie night was Face Off. It was the new Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie from last year, and then Face Off right after that.
Great movie night.
And I had to go to sleep, so I couldn't watch all of Face Off, but I had to stay for the kid being shot, of course. And then
being shot, and then
right after
the
fucking choir, the Honda. Personally, I think he's fucking boring and that shit, and so I had to stay for that. And then I knew I had to stay for stay away from LA on the 13th. It's gonna be a little smoggy. And then I had to stay for the fucking air crash part and the shooting and the fucking kicking him into the jet engine that he just knew how to operate.
And honestly, the movie, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, it isn't that bad. It is schlock. That's the thing about Jimmy, is that he doesn't appreciate schlock. Like, he hated Crank.
Yeah, he's very up his own ass about that kind of thing. About movies and stuff. It's it's not
how can you not love Crank? That I don't understand.
You didn't like Crank?
Yeah, he was like, oh, it's just a bunch of random shit, and it's like, yeah, it was great.
That's fun.
It was wonderful.
That's why it's fun.
I was mildly concerned about Crank 2 just treading the same ground, and it kind of did, but then it did also escalate and did other goofy fun shit.
But also, let's face it, a Crank 1 is so new and inventive.
Yes. And
you
tongue in cheek,
the same shit.
It actually had one of the fucking establishing shots was literally Google Earth with the Google Earth logo in the lower corner.
They don't even edit out the Google Earth.
No, they could have cropped that. It was just a little bit right in the corner. They could have cropped it out. They didn't, because they knew it's like, of course this is Google Earth. We're not going to pretend that it's not.
Because they don't give a shit, and it's like, okay, that's cool.
Yes. It's a good attitude to have. Anyways,
it also reminds me of one of my favorite things from both of the movies is the end of the first one where he's falling out of the helicopter and he calls his girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
the best. It's like a really nice, tender scene.
Yes.
And then they fucking play the actual answering machine message in the second movie, and it's just the wind whipping and him mumbling. It's like, what the fuck is this? And it's great.
I love the poster for 2, the tagline that says that he was dead, but he got better, just straight up making a Monty Python reference.
They went there. They're allowed to do that.
Yes.
They're allowed to do that.
Wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, well, this is... now, I didn't read much of this comic, but I did read, I think, the first couple of chapters.
Well, first off, spoiler for my opinion, this is a recommend.
Wow, that's great.
I think I read the first 20
I would recommend this too if you listen to our reviews and check out our reviews. That there's going to be a bunch of parts of this because easy content. But if
there's plenty to cover, as you can already hear, we already covered so much, and we haven't covered any of this comic.
We haven't even talked about the comic.
We haven't even gone past the cover yet.
Which that's just the genius of our reviews. Wonderful. Oh yeah, that's right. We stopped at just the word Okinawa. Why did we stop at that? Oh yeah, Donnie Brasco. Anyways.
Well, also because actually that was a surprising thing, is that if you actually read this, it's like, Okinawa. it's got like sort of its own culture. They kind of refer to Okinawans as like island people and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, I get it. There's also the military base. The
Yeah.
Marine base is on Okinawa.
And there's some, I think, some maybe a little bit of involvement with that, but whatever. Karate expert. She's a 18-year-old karate expert from Okinawa with, of course, giant tits. But she went
And
to,
delicious brown skin and white passing features.
of course, tanned and
which is, as everyone knows, is the hottest thing ever.
but also fit. Giant tits and fit. It's like that. That's pretty much that's what I consider a bare minimum requirement, if anything.
Yeah, it's a 5 out of 10.
Yes, complete
She's
5 out of 10.
absolutely mid. She's mid, but I like her.
Yes. She's mid and I like her. It's a wonderful... And it goes to show, see, we don't have high standards. A complete 5 out of 10 like this is perfectly acceptable. It's good.
Compared to American Cape shit, then, though, you're fucking turning the fucking... all the standards for American comics
fucking
down.
standard. A 10 in American comics is a 3 in manga, just because, as we've been saying for years and years, before Comicsgate ever existed, back on the original blog, going back before Gamergate even existed, is that manga has always had a better control of the dreaded male gaze and objectification, which is, unironically, it's a requirement for even for
art.
Just your
if you're going to be an artist,
reader
you
of
have
comics.
to be capable. If you can't do this as an artist, you are not an artist.
But also, if to appeal to a real comics reader, not a fan who is a lesser person, an underneath person, if you will, to retranslate back from German, an underneath person.
The underman.
A normie peg cattle, if you will. Those are the kinds of people that don't matter. They're not real. They don't actually exist.
They're
never
not
happened.
even human. It was also like the new rule that I think I came up with today for the zero-dimensional rule.
Yes, where if you took that person, your average American comic book fan, if you took them, a fan of American comic books specifically, a Cape cuck, essentially, if you took them and put their every nuanced behavior into a comic book or any story, people would say, that's a terrible character, that's terrible writing, this character is too simplistic and one-dimensional or even zero-dimensional. And only to find out it's a real-life person, and they love American comic books.
An actual human being. I don't know if we want to cover... I don't know if we want to cover that in a different video. The fucking person from today who was like, fucking, Tim Lim has been attacking Comicsgate since the beginning. And it's like, based on what? Says who?
Yeah, based on Ethan Van Sciver wanting people to believe it. It's not even a matter of wanting it to be true. He does want it to be true. He wants people to believe it. The only problem is he has no evidence. And in fact, every time Ethan tries to present evidence of this, he has people on his own side. We saw that with John Delarose as well, where people on his own side are like, sorry, you lost me. I usually like you, not anymore. And now they've lost a fan forever. And Ethan's been having that happen too many times lately. If you just look at the comments sections of their Indiegogo campaigns, which if you don't want to even go there to do that, donate to our Subscribe Star. We got tons of videos just enjoying ourselves, having a good long laugh at Ethan Van Sciver's expense and everyone else in Comicsgate as we read and document the many, many, many comments on their Indiegogo campaigns asking for refunds, swearing off Ethan Van Sciver forever. They'll never buy another comic from him. They'll never buy another comic from Comicsgate. They'll never buy another comic from Indiegogo. They'll never buy another comic from any crowdfunding campaign, and so on and so on. Years
we didn't have to do it like this. It didn't have to be this way.
We didn't want it to be like this.
I was never going to do this. Like a fucking concerted a campaign against Comicsgate where we personally sabotage every single one of their fans one by one until Comicsgate has no support.
We didn't
I
even do
never
that.
had to do that,
Yeah.
and I won't. But it's going to happen anyway.
It already has happened. Yeah, that's the nature. So yeah, if you want to see more about that, donate to our Subscribe Star. It helps support us and do these wonderful, wonderful videos.
And if you want to see more butts,
yes,
then donate to our Subscribe Star.
even more.
You will see more butts. The female butt.
Asshole. Well, maybe not that. But
the female balloon knot. Well, no, that's not going to be in here.
Not necessarily. But you know what? Thigh gap, more impressive, to be honest. Every girl has an asshole. Not every girl has a thigh gap. And that is very important.
They should be ashamed to not have one.
They should be beaten savagely if they dare to make the mistake of choosing to be born female or choosing to not have a thigh gap.
Body shamed so hard it draws blood.
With a baseball bat. That's the kind of body shaming that
that's how I prefer to do my body shaming.
Yes. Now, meanwhile, I'm going to be dunking these fucking nacho cheese Cheetos into a tub of nacho cheese. Anyways, no.
I'm going to fucking take this heat lamp and melt these candy bars down my throat.
That was
and then I'll go lose weight.
Yeah, after that. But yeah, that was actually reference to a good webcomic, but the good old classic. That guy fell way off though, and wouldn't be surprised.
KC
Green, yeah, who did Horrible Villain. His comics are funny, and he did some other good stuff after that. And as I have no idea,
it's usually a sign of mental illness. It's a sign of like ascending, compacting mental illness.
Well,
is when somebody starts off good and then drops off.
Yeah, very tragic. But also, he was very close friends with a lot of the the Dumbler feminists and that kind of shit, and the SJWs. So
that's also a sign of mental
illness. Most
illness.
likely at this point, 50-50 chance he's just trooned out entirely. But
yeah, we haven't kept up with him, unfortunately, because he's just gone.
Well, that's the thing, is that usually you might see something from, like, the last thing anyone's really seen from him was the dog in the room on fire going, "This is fine." That was like the last thing he did. He used to do fucking... Most of his comics that he made became memes. Like
he did
Dick Butt and that kind of stuff. Dick's also... Who wants to go to Dick City? And that fucking
comic Dick Butt in particular is funny because that by itself was a meme, but then the comic itself was also funny because it was like, "I'll never waste a bit of you, tree," and then he draws Dick Butt on a piece of paper and then just sweating close-up face. Yes. Which was also a meme itself.
Facial reaction, fourth panel. Anyways, but yeah, that was that was a classic. Anyways, just getting through this. So this chick from Okinawa goes to Tokyo to enter the entertainment industry in hopes of supporting her family. She gets tricked into being a gravure idol. I don't know.
I don't even know how it's pronounced, but it's basically like softcore porn modeling.
All right, yeah.
It's like near nudity.
That kind of idol who wears lewd clothing and is forced eventually to enter the AV world, but she won't go down without a fight. So it's kind of about degrading her, but at the same time, her trying to keep her integrity, and that's part of the comedy. Maybe part of as much as you may enjoy seeing her completely horribly objectified, at some point against your will you may end up rooting for her and wanting to see the best for her, sometimes just because she gets
that's how you know
degraded.
It's good. That's how you know it's a good comic, is if it actually manages to win over somebody like me. Somebody like me.
Somebody like me. Which is
but yeah, it's fucking it's super degrading. And again, also just even taking her side on this though, you will never see an American comic ever attempt this. They'll never do that.
Yeah,
not even it's straight up on E.
Especially the American comics that try to, well, the cape shit types of people, the failed cape shit creators essentially, who are trying to act like, yeah, we're all for sexy women. It's like, okay, here's some. Can you even match this? And then usually they don't even say yes or we can try. They get pissed off and it's like, why are you even looking at that? And it's like, because she has giant tits and a thigh gap.
Well, I thought you said you wanted to draw sexy women. Guess what? It's fucking.
This is what you're competing against.
For 25 years.
This
is your competition. If you can't do at least as good as this, you're not worth listening to.
If you can't even meet this, if you can't even get to halfway to this is, again, one of the better reasons why a lot of people like Common America. People go to Common America because of the attractive females in the drawings, and then they stay buying Common America because it has an actual story. Whereas all the other failed cape shit creators who have failed down to the indie scene can't even make it to that level, and in fact are openly resentful of the success that anyone else is having in any way.
What was it? Jawbreakers, where it's fucking. That was actually one of the things that stuck with me, is where he's like, I don't like this hard boob style.
Yeah,
it's like, that's actually a good point. The girls in there are supposed to be sexualized and objectified. They're ugly, though.
Yeah, they have no actual weight or heft or any physics or physicality to their actual titty meat. The way that you can see in just a completely ordinary, sort of lower selling manga, and that's also the point manga.
Too. Is they're fucking drawing it like this because they know it looks good. American comics don't draw it like this because they have no idea how to draw it.
This is why no one is coming to Jawbreakers. That's why Jawbreakers had no growth. As we said that back in 2017, 2018.
Yeah,
and we were proven right every step of the way.
It wasn't even the second issue. It was like, I looked at this and it's like, I would not read more of this.
Yeah.
I would not look at more of this. I would not buy more of this. This is terrible. I couldn't even finish the first issue. It was so boring.
Yeah, and the thing is, even the art was objectively bad. The art had objective flaws in many, many ways, but added to which the supposedly
we covered that already, of course.
Yeah, of course, in the review, which you can see on our channel. But the supposed sexy female in that had that awful, just stiff motion, bad figure drawing, and again, like Jerk called it, the hard boob style that American comics is stuck with and stuck in, to the point where the readership for American comics has abandoned it for manga because manga does it better. And
they've abandoned a lot of indie comics now. Thanks a lot, fucking Richard. Yeah. Thanks a lot for basically gutting, just setting fire to the fucking American indie.
Notice he didn't appeal. His comics and his the stuff he makes doesn't appeal to real comic enjoyers, to real comic readers.
Yeah, which
it appeals only to NPCs.
I mean, look at the American comics medium in general. In the 90s, maybe Spider-Man sold 1 million copies each. Not anymore. The entire American industry is lucky.
It wasn't 1 million copies each, though.
Total.
It was 1 million copies for variant covers and collector's items back then. That's why they sold
But I mean, you
many.
could get people to actually do that back in the 90s.
Yeah.
By the end of the 90s, it was maybe 100,000 for that exact same series.
To even think that you could ever bring that back takes a below 90 IQ.
Yeah, why you'd want to? I mean, looking at it, knowing it's an objective mistake, and seeing what it led to, and then thinking, we need to bring that back. You need to get gate kept.
You're genetically inferior if you've ever thought that bringing back the 90s would even change so much as even fix anything. It's neither. It wouldn't fix anything. It wouldn't change anything.
It'll make things
for the
worse.
better or for the worse necessarily. It wouldn't even necessarily make things worse. But
it's hard to kill the industry harder than it's already died.
Yeah,
it's already as bad as it can get.
As we had been proven right about, the American comics industry has been dead for a long time now, and the SJWs aren't ruining it. They're the vultures picking at the corpse. And the most people who pretend to be involved in American comics are just copying off of us and parroting our words verbatim. If you're seeing them, they are people who are repeating us, except that they don't actually know anything. So why see the copies when you can support the original? So check us out on Subscribestar, re-like, unshare. We'll be back next week with more of this, probably next week and next week with even more of this.
We're gonna draw this out as long as possible. We're gonna draw this out like 100-man gang. 100-man gangbang, which is how this comic actually starts.
The first chapter apparently involves that. We'll get into that, not graphically, of course, but we'll get into that next time. So, donate to us on Subscribestar, unironically, if you want to support the people who actually tell you the truth without any pandering, without lying to you for your money. And for everyone else, should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.